Hi guys, welcome back. As promised, I am uploading this video the next day. I wanted to give you guys an update. I actually accidentally deleted the video that I already recorded explaining all of this, so I'm re-recording it. So I'm just gonna jump right into it because it is kind of a long story. I'm gonna try to only do like the highlights so that way I'm not like boring you guys, but goodness gracious, it has been a whirlwind. But I made it to 37 weeks, which was like the biggest feat because now I'm considered full term. As long as she's like healthy when she's born and she's not like super small and her lungs are working, we have avoided a NICU stay. So before I forget, I'm going to show you guys my bump because I feel like I've been really bad at doing that. What is that? So here's my bump, 37 weeks. She is really in there, guys. And we're bumping. I would say she's big. She's big in there, but she's not, and that's the problem. So at my 34-week appointment, Peter was able to come with me, and he had asked my OB if we were going to do any more ultrasounds. And she was like, no, Alyssa's belly is measuring correctly, so like I have no reason to suspect anything going on in there. And then, we were talking back and forth, and then she's like, well, have we made sure that she's head down yet? And I was like, no, we haven't done anything since the anatomy scan. And my OB was like, okay, yeah, we'll schedule for an ultrasound, we'll make sure she's head down, and we'll do a growth scan. So I went back the following day to do that, and she is in fact head down, which is great. And we found out during the ultrasound that she was measuring only in the 6th percentile. And I do have small babies, but not that small. And at her anatomy scan, she was measuring in the 34th percentile, so she dropped a lot. So I got a call from one of the nurses, and she was like, this is what we would consider intrauterine growth restriction, which for short is IUGR. She said that there's a lot of reasons that can happen. None of them can, there's no prevention or knowing why it happened unless I was like an avid smoker, which I'm not. So she's like, we're gonna schedule you for extra monitoring and just make sure you're keeping track of her movements and do like kick counts and all of that. So she was saying that it's probably because of my placenta. My placenta is aging too fast for my pregnancy, which that is just like such weird wording to me. I just picture like an old placenta. Ugh, I don't know. So I've been going in 2 extra times a week. So I am now 36 weeks. So that was 2 weeks ago, which is crazy because I feel like all of this just happened. But I go in 3 times a week to my OB office because I'm at weekly appointments to see my OB, and then 2 other times during the week I go in for extra monitoring. The first day I go in, they do an ultrasound, and it's called a Doppler, where they check the blood flow in your umbilical cord so they can kind of measure the blood flow from your placenta to the baby. And then I do a non-stress test, an NST. And if you don't know what that is, I actually vlogged going to one the other day, so that'll be out like next week sometime. But pretty much they just hook you up to the monitors and they check her heart rate and see if you're having contractions, and they just want to see how the baby's heart rate is doing. There should be like a baseline, but they want to see X cells and D cells. Not like crazy D cells, but there should be some fluctuation. And so I do 2 NSTs a week, 1 ultrasound, and then I meet with my OB in between. So we have been having an insane amount of appointments, but it's reassuring for me because I get to check on baby girl. I have also, unfortunately, had to go in. I've gone into the OB emergency department once a week since I was like 33 weeks, I think. I vlogged the first time, which was you can watch that. Then I went in again for contractions, and they stopped, so that was fine. Then I went in again because I woke up one morning and she was not moving. She moved like 1 or 2 times. And when I tell you guys, this girl is always moving. She moves so much. So in the morning time, when I didn't feel her move a whole lot, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I chugged some water, I chugged some orange juice, and she still just was not, she was like barely moving. And so that was one thing that they told me to look out for, because with the placenta issues and being growth restricted, like, just want to make sure you catch something before anything bad happens. So I went in to make sure she was good, and of course I got there and they hooked me up to the monitors and she started moving around like crazy. And actually it took her a while to start moving, and to them they're like, oh, she's like moving, like she's moving. And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand, like she's usually like crazy, like moving around constantly. And so they kept me and monitored me, and then by the end of the time, like she just was moving so much back to normal, and they're like, I can see why you were concerned. I was also like super emotional that time because it's like so scary and so like you have no control over pregnancy. I have no idea what's going on in my belly, and just knowing that I have this potentially dangerous thing that could happen, my placenta could just stop working, and just having no way. It's not like an alert goes off, or like it's not painful unless I have like a placenta, like a tear or something. It's not like I would start bleeding, or like there's just no way of knowing. And so just the tension, the unknowns of it all just was like really got me that day. And I was on the phone with Peter updating him, and then I just started crying. And I don't cry a whole lot, I'm not a crier. And then my nurse came in to tell me, like to ask me a question, and then she saw I was crying. She's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you okay? And I was like, I'm totally fine, thank you. So then she leaves and the doctor comes in. She was like, hey girl, the nurse said that you might be feeling a little emotional. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And she was so sweet. She was like, do you have any questions? Can I ease any worries or anxieties? Like, what do you need? What's going on? And I told her like exactly what I just said to you guys. Like, it's just like the unknowns that like are just make me anxious. She's like, totally understandable. Like, you're very valid in feeling this way. And she was like, well, if it helps you to know, when you get a normal NST result, the chances of something bad happening within a week of that test are extremely low. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Because that is very reassuring, especially because I do 2 NST tests a week. So I don't even have to make it a week in between tests. I don't have to make it like 4 days. So I was like, wow, that's really good to know. That's amazing. And not only am I passing the NST test, but she's scoring like a 10 out of 10. So she's acing the test. We're doing good. And so that was very reassuring. And so now I don't worry as much. My Peter keeps calling me. I'm so sorry. So I also know in the back of my mind, like they say that as babies get bigger and like you're more full term, they do start to settle down. There's not as much room in there for them. So having the NST tests, like knowing what that doctor told me, is very reassuring. And I feel like I would have panicked way more, because there are times where she's just like not moving a whole lot. And I'm like, you know what? She's fine. She's doing good in there. They told me, like, I know she's doing good. So that was very reassuring. Then I went in again what day was that? Monday? Tuesday? No, it was Tuesday. So today's Saturday. I don't know what day. Saturday the 16th. I went on Tuesday, whatever number day that was. And I started off at my NST appointment, and I started to get contractions during that test. And so the nurse was like, if you have these still in like an hour, I need you to go in and get monitored and get checked. And I was like, here we go again. My weekly visit to the OB emergency department. So I was so tired that day. I was like, listen, girl, if you're coming, let me take a nap first, because I'm tired, okay? So I went back to my sister's house because she was watching the boys. I took a nap over at their house with the boys. I woke up, I was still having contractions. And so I was like, all right, let me go back in. I went in, they hooked me up to the monitors, and I was still in fact having contractions. The nurse checked my cervix, and all the other times I had gone in, I stayed at 1 centimeter dilated. This time she checked me and I was at 2 centimeters dilated. So she's like, all right, well, you progressed a little bit, so this might be it. We'll see. The doctor came in. Mind you, every time I've gone into the OB emergency department so far, I've just gone by myself because Peter always offers to come with me. And I always tell him, like, no, it's good, because usually he's at work. One of the times, it was we had just put the boys down, and I was like, it's not worth calling somebody over here. Just stay with the boys, and if this turns into something, I'll call you. So I was there by myself. The doctor comes in, and he was like, you're having some pretty consistent contractions. Considering that your baby's growth restricted, we're not going to stop these. So if they progress, like, you're having a baby. And I was like, what? As if I didn't know that was a possibility. Just because that was my fifth time? My fourth time going in, and all the other times they've just sent me home. So that's what I expect to happen every time. So when he said that, I was like, panic. Oh my gosh. So I called Peter. I told him what he said. And he was like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna shower, I'll be there. I was like, grab my hospital bag, bring me chicken nuggets. It just was like the first real moment of like, holy crap, this might actually happen. And long story short, they kept me until almost 9:30 at night. I had contractions for 7 hours and nothing happened. So that's just where I'm at right now. That is what the rest of my pregnancy is going to look like. I have no doubt that I will go back in. The nurse also told me that if I was full term, they would have helped the contractions along. But because I wasn't considered full term yet, because at that point I was like 36 weeks and like 4 days or something, I don't know. So that is also crazy to think that if/when I go in for contractions, they would just like induce me, or try to help me along, which I'm sure if I told them like, no, I just want to wait and see, I don't want to like force this if it's not going to happen, they wouldn't make me stay, but if I was like, let's do it, they would be like, let's do it. So yeah, that was crazy. And I honestly didn't think I was going to make it this far just because I've been having so many contractions, but God knew she wasn't ready to come, and I'm just trusting God's plan for this baby, and it has been a wild ride. And also, every time I call Peter, I've had to resort to texting him. Every time I call him, he goes, are you okay? Are you good? I'm like, I'm good. I'm okay. I just was asking if you wanted a coffee. And so he's like, every time you call me, my heart sinks. I think you're having a baby. And that's where everybody's at, and like around me. Every time I call or anytime I'm like, ooh, they're like. So yeah. But we only have about 2 weeks left because I am getting induced a week early. So maximum, I got 2 weeks left. But I think she's going to come next week. We'll see, and you guys will be there. That is my update for you guys. I'm actually glad I re-recorded this because I didn't babble as much, which is probably good for you guys. But stay tuned for Sunday. I do have a video. I think it's the what's in my hospital bag video is scheduled. And then I'm gonna do weekly or maybe even bi-weekly like mini vlogs of like baby watch, where I bring you guys along to my OB appointments with me. And of course, just like my normal day-to-day life vlogs. We did get, actually you guys already saw that, the car seat situation, but anyways. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. Our update, it is very crazy. And if you guys could just be praying that she stays healthy, she grows strong, and that she comes when she's ready, and that God would just be all over it. That's all. You guys be praying with me. And if you guys want to stay more updated, like more in time, follow me on Instagram, because I post on there a little bit more. But they will definitely hear about the baby being born before YouTube, because at this point you guys are like a week or two behind my normal life. Oh, there's my baby. All right, I will see you guys later.